This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the beautiful penguin sanctuary. You see the little penguins calm and relaxed in the background. Come to talk to you today about hormones, the hormonal system, and just how important this hormonal system is. We're going to consider the shamanic perspective, magnetism. The shaman uses rhythm, the principle of rhythm, the drum and the dance, in order to attune the electrical system, the nervous system. And through the attunement of the nervous system, the hormonal system follows its cues as given to it by the neurological system. For the two are sort of like yang yin, if you want to consider it from a conceptual perspective, two sides of the same coin, an equation, if you will. What you do to the one side of the equation will affect the other side of the equation, and that's really as simple as it is. So understanding how the shaman is able to enter into a trance state by retuning the central nervous system and the frequencies, the electrical frequencies of the nervous system, by directly affecting the hormonal systems. In the same process, the emotional field changes. And due to the change of the emotional field and the nervous field, shall we say, the energy of the nervous fluctuation gets to be what I can call modulated or moderated, and a harmony can be produced. And this nervous impulse then becomes the beginning of the movement of the dance. And the dance carries a shaman through the process of an inner journey, if you will, journey through the hormonal state of consciousness, through the emotional field. To understand how important the hormones are, I can't begin. Realize that all of the forms of your body, the proteins, and the synthesis of the proteins that create the molecules, this is all governed essentially by the hormones, directly. Which is why when a woman gets pregnant, she is going to become extremely hormonal, and the hormones are going to change, and she'll have really high amounts of all the hormones in her body in order to generate all of the cell matter that are going to be necessary for the baby's body. And so this becomes a fundamental process, very, very, very important for understanding how this cell division is accomplished through the hormonal system's activities. Hormones are affected by the foods we eat in a very big way. And so what we eat is fundamental to understanding. Sorry, my little boy was bumping me. So the hormonal system being affected by the foods that we eat tend to become toxic and toxified. And the toxicity that's produced by too much sugar or too much salts or the wrong kind of salts or preservatives especially have a really detrimental effect on the hormonal field, affecting one's sense of personal magnetism. And when one affects one's sense of personal magnetism, one is affecting one's emotional field. One's passions become shifted and changed too. And this will cause one to become overly passionate in sexual ways, for example. So this toxic field that human beings tend to carry around themselves are largely to do with the attunement of the electrical field through too much technology, too much screen time, and also the foods that are producing the toxic waste within the system that actually inhibit the hormones from moving in the way that they ought to. And so the balance and the harmony of the hormonal system is disrupted. And when the balance of the hormonal system is disrupted, you get all sorts of physiological issues that start to arise. Weight gain, for example, is to do with this hormonal imbalance, or too much weight loss, the inability to put on weight. The thyroid gland is really, really important for managing all of the other hormonal systems with relation to the physical productivity in the body. And when we look at the yogic system, we see that the thyroid gland is fundamental. It's where the Ida and the Pingala find its resolution in Sushumna. And Sushumna is the key to the altered state of consciousness that the shaman is able to use in order to travel out of the consciousness field and meet the guides of the spiritual plane. And there are three different planes of existence. Though the spiritual plane is an important plane to consider, for it is the highs within ourselves that we attune to when we attune to this particular frequency of vibration. And so we're able to find some kind of a inspiration from the divine natures within ourselves. Understanding that there are three aspects. The shaman realizes these three aspects in terms of three different modes of travel through three different worlds, three different dreamscapes, if you will, three ways of interacting with the guides in the dreamscapes. And in this way, the shaman is able to directly retune the hormonal system, directly, through the emotional induction of new information achieved in the altered state of consciousness, where the shaman is moving through the dream states and connecting with the highest aspects of the self, the guides, that are able to direct, guide, and bring the consciousness and the energy into a state of harmony. These guides are living beings. They are parts of ourselves, and they are parts of the structure of reality around us. Very much alive, very much intelligent, and very much an important part of the shamanic path. The hormonal system can be tuned and improved by sunlight. Sunlight both attunes the electrical system and the hormonal system through this balance and harmony that is produced through the two working in terms of the Sushumna relation of Idda and Pingala and the physical body, as the Vedic schools would show. Though it's fundamentally important for us to consider that the hormonal system, when examined directly, is very much to do with our personal magnetism. And when we feel that our personal magnetism is low, we feel inhibited. We feel an inability to express ourselves. We feel afraid of social interaction, perhaps. We feel doubt of how other people are going to respond to us, how our magnetism is going to attract people. We feel unattractive. When our magnetic field, our hormonal system is well tuned, we feel sexy, we feel empowered, we feel spontaneity. So the spontaneity of the dance comes about through the balance of the hormonal system. In order for the emotional field to be able to guide the movements of the shaman's body, for the shaman does not consider the dance as a preconceived series of movements. The dance flows from deep within and is the natural expression of the guide's consciousness, guiding the shaman to guide the energy through the process of the dance in order to restructure the consciousness field in such a way that the physical, emotional, and mental realities can find a state of balance and harmony. This is the purpose of the shamanic dance. And the dance also puts the shaman into a state of trance where the shaman is able to alter consciousness and gain deeper realizations of the nature of reality and time-space, and connect with the deepest aspects of the self, the guides, those living beings that are the manifesting aspects of consciousness that brings the reality to bear. We are all one being, and all human beings are aspects of the same consciousness field being reflected. And so to understand how this works is to understand the basis of the hormonal field and the electrical field and how they work together. That's a small introduction into the hormonal field and how it works, and how important food is, and water. The water we drink also has a fundamental effect on detoxifying the hormonal system. And the hormonal system can become very toxified very easily. So realize that you need to reduce your technological intake. Electrical fields affect the nervous system's frequency, and the effect of the nervous system's frequency is going to have a feedback on the emotional loop. And the emotional loop is going to affect how the hormonal system is going to basically move its hormones or the emotions through our consciousness field. I hope this has been somewhat enlightening as an introduction, and I hope you absolutely enjoy the weekend and the day, and God bless you all. Have an absolutely amazing week. This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the Penguin Sanctuary. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.